So I would like to feature another system in our body. It's the lymphatic system, or let's say the waste elimination system. It will be a little bit vaster than the lymphatic system. I would also like to touch a little bit of the cellular system. I don't know how to make the right separation between them. Or let's say the regenerative system of our body, if you can call that a system, and please do not try to compare my anatomy a la housewife with any anatomy from anatomy books, good and knowledgeable and detailed books. It's just like, it's a try to put together a system in a logical way to draw a picture how the body functions, more like physiology of it. Maybe part of the views are very alternative and not proven by research or quotes of researchers done in which years in which universities, but it's like how we function, like creating those main herbs. It's sort of the practical knowledge. It's based on who you have in front of you, who you are addressing, treating, what kind of problems, and how everything's interconnected, and where to pull the little string so that the system starts moving. So I love the subtitle of the book that Hung, my husband, wrote. Hung is the creator of Main Herbs. So if you die at the age of 120, you will die young. That's a Taoist saying. Taoists is this group of people in China who have learned how the body functions optimally, how to use the internal energies, the body's energetic system, to stay forever young, how to use the sexual energy instead of wasting it, and how to really live very long and fulfilled life in a young and strong body. Indeed, longevity there was a part of tradition, and they worked a lot with herbs, to support and tonify the bodies. They worked energetically a lot. Energetic practices, meditation practices, breathing practices. They achieved what a person could achieve with the body, and they created a system and knowledge out of it. So our body is capable of self-regenerating itself, and we know about Taoists and Kung Fu masters who have their third wife at the age of 100 years, have their new children, and they just live happily, fulfilled life, beautiful life, being a source of wisdom and inspiration to many. That's how we could live also, instead of dying forgotten in the elderly homes. So it's up to us. And the choice is made now, at the age of 30, 40, wherever you're at in your life. And there's been stories about Taoists who regrow the whole set of teeth 3 times. There's even a system how you do it. All teeth fall out, and then you regrow a new set of teeth at the age of 70, 140, whichever age that hits you. And it's totally possible. There's systems in Russia who teach that, but not so commonly known or open for everyone. And by the way, they are actually very often highly suppressed, but they exist, they do exist. So when given the right environment, the right support, nutrition-wise, herbally, and energetically, like our body can rejuvenate itself. An organ can rejuvenate itself or rebuild itself from like a little tiny part of the cells left. Even those who have like the pancreas taken out surgically, the body can recreate that new. If we know the way, and if we give the body the right support, the right time and space and environment, it's really possible. So, of course, rejuvenating your body in terms of young, fresh skin and satellite free if you want at the age of 50 and however, and healthy teeth and hair which do not get gray. That's all really possible. It's easy to do, and rejuvenate a formerly sick or deformed organ in an organ that's possible too. The body does have this self-rejuvenating capacity. It's got to be that we remove the cause of what actually created the disturbance in the first place, be that an energetic blockage or mental pattern, self-repeating destructive inner thing, or bad posture, often based on past traumas. Past traumas do have like deep effects on the psyche, on the emotional body, on the physical body, on the organ function. So if we work on the factors that create an energy blockage or the wrong posture or whichever way that affects our inner organs towards damage, we work on those factors and improve them, remove them from our system, then that creates the energetic base for the body to self-heal. And then we need to support the body cells. Every organ has different type of cells which respond to different type of herbs. We can also work with homeopathic ways. We can take organ meats and like animal glands that we're trying to rebuild in our system, the corresponding glands from cows, from sheep, from hogs. By the way, when people used to have more organ meats and less of the red meats and that type of stuff, they were generally much more healthy because the body doesn't need material. It's much easier for the body to take material from similar type of substance. Like we had the blood sausage, right? The Blutwurst in German, and we had a lot of foods made of liver and kidneys and more. And the Chinese are known to cook the cow testicles and stuff like that to support the inner organs in special ways. The brain of animals. The tendons, of course, after you give birth, you get this stew of pig feet for a long, long time in China, like packed with herbs, by the way, to like give the woman the substances that her body needs to recover. Things like that. So nutritional support and energetic support, nutritional support, and one extremely important factor is your body got to have the clean environment, inner environment to rejuvenate itself. Every cell has to be flooded with these clean waters instead of bathing in sewage. And talking about the sewage versus clean waters, I would really love to start talking about the body elimination system. How the body self-cleanses itself from the toxicity, and why toxicity as such. So, toxicity is the matter hardly ever touched in the Chinese herbalism, and little touched in Ayurvedic system. And it's touched little. There is things that will bring your systems and herbs and programs and foods that will bring your body into purging, light purging, like as it was needed like those 3,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago when the system was created. And by the way, let's say the Ayurvedic system often lacks the tonic support system that the Chinese are concentrating upon, and the Chinese system lacks the purging function of the Ayurvedic system. It could be historically based, we don't know. It could be that the Chinese used to live in much cleaner environments historically and have these healthier lifestyles and energetic practices which would set up their bodies for better function, whereas in India people would concentrate more on the Also, climatically, people would not be so active, and maybe they concentrated more on the meditative practices and bhakti, devotion practices and that. So often their body would get a bit stagnating and needed a little moving of the toxicity out of it so it can function better. We can only guess now. But yeah, it's hard to find an old ancient system that would really properly address all the aspects that the human system of today is facing. So every day our body intakes and self-creates toxicity. First of all, we are under a lot of stress, and as mentioned, under stress nothing in body can function really properly. Starting from the digestion, ending with the elimination, and everything in between. So the stress is a great factor, and it's created by our own unresolved trauma, by our own incapacity to talk our truth. The societal measures now that really do not support, like talking it out, shouting it out, or however we would solve our conflicts, the way they do not affect us. So then there is this electromagnetic pollution everywhere. It's like a stress under which our body is constantly, even out in the far islands, we still get this electromagnetic pollution from the abundant satellites floating through the ether. And mobile phones we often just press to our ear without any protection, without structuring that chaotic electromagnetic field created by that phone in any way. The mobile and the cell phone towers, they really bombard us with information we can't process. And then there's this toxicity in the air, in the waters, in the food, which is unavoidable. Even the cleanest food of today is not the same food as we had like 100 years ago in general. The fish in the ocean, everything contains pollution. And of course our body creates more by not being able to properly digest the process. So we're dealing with this aspect, and we actually should be having a cleanse every 6 months. If we haven't started cleansing yet, we should first start cleanse our body for 3 to 6 months straight, if not 2 years, and then have a maintenance cleanse to keep it functioning and to return to the body's capacity to self-eliminate waste. We need to have the liver, the kidneys, the intestines in the right working order. I'll start different. We need to have the intestines, the liver, the kidneys, and the lymphatic system in good working order for body to be able to self-eliminate the waste that it creates and that it absorbs from the environment. So it really builds up that way. The main thing is intestines. And Chinese call the intestines the sea of 1,000 illnesses. That's where it starts. You've got toxicity in the intestines and the parasites that live in the toxicity. You're just creating toxicity in every minute and second in your own body. So it's important to remove the toxicity out, move the toxicity out of your intestines, and have the intestines in well-functioning order, so that whatever you eat today, the rest of it can be moved out tomorrow, latest. That's number one. Number two, and I do not know which is more important, is the liver or the kidneys, but let's say it's the liver at this time. Liver got to be functioning and producing the bile. First of all, for the digestive function. Second, every moment, every minute, if I remember it correctly, I may be wrong, but the liver filters about 4 liters of blood. If I'm wrong, it's good to correct me. But there is an amazing amount of blood that moves through liver every 24 hours for the sake of filtration. The blood can only be alkaline and clean, otherwise the body cannot function. So, the rest, the toxicity of the blood, gets moved into the lymphatic system, which in turn carries this acidity and toxicity which the blood couldn't afford to carry. And then the other function of bile, of course, destroying the cancer cells that are being self-produced by the body at every moment. So bile would destroy them so they do not turn into formations which we would call later tumors. So the third is kidney function. Kidneys are the sewage system, the drainage system of that sewage in our body, lymph. And the lymph is drained through the kidneys. Kidneys need to be in proper functioning order to move the toxicity of the lymph out of the body. If they're not, then we're creating more and more toxicity in our bodies, which tries to find a way to not move into the brain and vitally important organs, which collects itself as the extra weight in our bodies. The cellulite actually has at its base dirty lymph, like waste in the lymphatic system. Very simple as that. Well, these are the two main ways I can think of. Well, just to mention, because I don't know where I will mention that later, just to mention, yes, actually high acidity in the body is the main cause of most of the illnesses that we encounter, and also the deterioration of our inner system is not caused by the age, but by acidity, as simple as that, including weak bones, arthritis, inflamed joints, bad sight, bone deformation, wrinkled skin, deteriorating function of inner organs. That's all caused by acidity, not age. So how to know whether your kidneys are functioning? A bit unusual approach taken from Dr. Morse, who has done a lot of research and work in that area. And please make sure to watch Dr. Morse's precious videos, which are very deeply explaining all the bodily functions and the appearance of disease, how it comes, how it's being, how it starts and how it continues to develop. Dr. Morse, M-O-R-S-E. Just look for the information material on YouTube. That system, the way how to simply test whether your kidneys are functioning properly is to urinate in a glass, in a transparent glass, in a mason jar. And then look at your urine through the light. Look through your urine in light, in sunlight, and then you try to see whether you can see any sediments there, or any flakes, or any smokiness. If you notice that, be sure your kidneys are functioning properly. But if the liquid is clear, unfortunately, your kidneys are not doing their job, and most of the internal waste just stays in your lymphatic system. So it's very important to have well-functioning kidneys, and then well-functioning lymphatic system, which is very important.